Right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Renison Jeffrey, and this is the Workers' Rights Platform. We are broadcasting live from the Workers' Rights Network. Now, the time is 11:50. This year is just a prelude of the show that we are going to keep tomorrow on Thursday from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. You know, from our research officer and a lot of work in which we would have uncovered concerning this whole interlude between Stuart Young behavior within the parliament. The reason why we are pushing this, we want you to know, the members of the public, citizens of the republic, why PNM aren't going to say anything about this outright and blatant disrespect that would have taken place within the public domain, in the highest court of the land, the parliament. And we would have zeroed in on the reason why no activists want to talk about it. They go just sideline and just use ad hominem attacks. What about this? What about that? And not answered the salient issue concerning this. Now, as I would have said in our take last night, when who would have watched the show last night on the program, a matter of fact, with Wendell, obviously, where he would have went in and he would have said that this whole complete interview yesterday. And what we are going to do is this: we are going to play that clip first. Stay tuned till the end, and we will reveal the secret, and we will go into the intricate web as to why, a matter of fact, the PNM, the people in the PNM, the executives and them, will not have anything to say. They will not even self-apologize. Taking this tape from last night.
Good morning, members of the media. First, I want to thank the members of the media who came out this morning for this press conference. As you all could see, they locked the gate to the entrance where I usually keep my show called the Eversley Show. So you can see this morning, the entrance is locked. So I came with a locked gate this morning. But nevertheless, I will keep fighting for good governance in all organizations. For the past 9 years, I have been saying PNM is the problem, UNC is not the solution. I have been saying we have to find a solution, because what we are seeing today, especially coming from the highest office of the land, is a total breakdown. And if we have leaders who sit in our parliament, and leaders supposed to lead by example, and today it's sad to say, but I want the people of Trinidad and Tobago to know what we are lacking now in this country, Trinidad and Tobago, is statecraft leadership and statecraft diplomacy. We must have statecraft diplomacy coming from the highest office of the land, which is the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. She held the highest office of the land. And when we could have a president coming on the 29th of July 1990, 29th of July 2024, to lay a wheat in remembrance of those who lost their life instead of July the 27th, 2024, it shows clearly where we are not seeing statecraft diplomacy coming from the highest office of the land. September the 11th, 2024, I was in New York, Times Square. Trinidadians lost their life there. I went to pay respect to those who lost their life and lay a wreath at the site which marked 23rd year, the 23rd anniversary. I saw the President of America. I saw the Vice President of America. I saw the candidate who is the presidential candidate, Donald Trump, who was a former president, also present there, and his deputy. I saw Republicans and Democrats. I saw thousands of Americans gather at Times Square. I saw over 2,900 and something names read out by families who lost their loved ones. It was a day where all who sit in the Congress and in the Senate came out to say this was an attack on their soil. This was an attack, a terrorist attack on their country. But right here in Trinidad and Tobago, when it comes to July the 27th, you don't see no opposition and you don't see no government ministers. The president, I wrote letters upon letters, never get acknowledgement. So that's why I keep saying we are lacking statecraft diplomacy coming from the highest office of the land of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. We are lacking statecraft leadership coming from the head of the executive also. And I want to say something this morning to you, the members of the media. Last week, you all heard what an acting Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, a Minister of Energy, a minister in the office of the Prime Minister, a chairman of a political party. You all have heard what he said in the House of Representatives. You all have listened to the video. You all have heard what he said about an opposition leader. And I'm telling you, it is the most disgraceful statement coming from a man who acting as Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago in the absence of our Prime Minister. And I want to tell you all something here. Our Constitution have nothing about acting Prime Minister. When you resume that duty, here is the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad with all of the authorities handed on to you. And you all heard what he said. Is this a homophobic? What we hear coming out from Stuart Young, cheered on by a man who acts as Prime Minister of this country too, for over the past 9 years. The Minister of Finance cheering him on, laughing, when he insulting women in the chamber, and on top of it too, he using obscene language. And look when it was taken on, when it was said, when the Deputy Speaker say he recognized the Minister of Finance, when the Minister of Finance say, I will wait for the chance over for the Speaker to come and take a seat. And you all see, you all heard what he said. And today, people staying silent in this country with our remarks coming out of our highest court of the land from Minister Stuart Young. Are we seeing today people concerned about power and perks instead of good governance? Are we seeing today, when we're talking about bullying, when we're talking about a child just commit suicide because what was done to him in his school, we see MPs making all sorts of statements from the opposition leader, from the Prime Minister, from members of Parliament, both opposition and government. And then after, look how they're carrying on. Look at their conduct. What they expect from school children. What they expect When you're hearing these kind of comments from them, and they are the same children that's come in the parliament there and have youth debate, they are the same children who they expect better from and quick to criticize them and quick to call on the Minister of Education to go. But here it is. We have a chairman of a party, Trinidad and Tobago, members of the media. I want you all to understand this. We cannot continue with having men and women in our parliament, the highest court of law of the land, with this kind of degrading remarks and saying what is peacock and microphone on and microphone in off, and the parliament was in session. You all remember the teacup ball? It happened in a tea room. You all remember just recently the Speaker of the House have to pull up the Member of Parliament for Moruga Tableland with her comments about open your leg and push the highway, and she get up and she criticize it. But are we going to stay silent for what Stuart Young said? Are we going to stay silent for what Stuart Young said about our opposition leader who was former Prime Minister, what she's going to do in the Parliament toilet? What are we really in this country accepting as leadership in this country? The world have heard what Stuart Young have said, and we have to take off our blinkers and stop being partisan and think about this flag here, Trinidad and Tobago. I always wear it, and I wear it proud, because I'm about country, and we have to set the standard right, and it must start from in the highest court of the land. We must have leaders with integrity. We must have leaders, when they enter the chamber, they must know how to conduct themselves. They must know that the world is looking at them. They must know that school children is looking at them. No wonder we have so much domestic violence in our country today. Look what we have to see just recently again. A man murdered his wife. Is this the kind of language Stuart Young and them just talk to the family at home? And they're bringing it into the parliament? And people supporting this, members of the party supporting this, and they wouldn't call a wrong. They wouldn't call a spade a spade. And I, as a national patriot of this country, I condemn Kamala when she used the slave master. I keep a protest. I condemn them when they went after the Chief Justice, a march around the Parliament, around the Chief Justice office. I condemn the Law Association. I condemn when Kamala said the Prime Minister is an Oreo. I protest in the public domain also, because these kind of language must not come from leaders. And Stuart Young is vying to be the next political leader of the PNM. And I want to tell the people of the national movement today, I am not a member of the PNM, but look in the next direction. Look at people like Foster Cummins. Look at people like Amy Brown. Look at people like Penny Lee Beckles. Look at people who will have statecraft leadership and statecraft diplomacy. And Stuart Young today do not have statecraft leadership and do not have statecraft diplomacy. Because if he has statecraft leadership and statecraft diplomacy, he would have never said what he said in our highest court of the land and degrading the opposition leader and a former Prime Minister. I am not a member of the PNM. I am not a member of the UNC. I am a member of Trinidad and Tobago, and I care about the country Trinidad and Tobago. I care about putting my country first. I'm a national patriot. I want to see a better place for our children to live in, our grandchildren to live in, and we must expect better from leaders. So I'm calling on Stuart Young this morning to apologize to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, apologize to the Parliament. And I'm calling also on the Minister of Finance, who was cheering him on, to also apologize to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I leave them up to the party to deal with their membership. I am not a member of the PNM. But I will always talk up for what is right in this country called Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to thank you again, members of the media, for giving me this opportunity to highlight what I see is a distasteful and a degrading comment by a man who is the chairman of a party, by a man who is the Minister of Energy, by a man who is the Minister in the Prime Minister office, by a man who acted on 2 occasions as acting Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And today, we're hearing nothing. And I want to see the House Speaker, Annette Bridget George, take action against him. And I want to see if no member of Parliament will bring him before the Privileged Committee of Parliament. Thank you.
Now that statement there would have been made by Wendell Eversley. And why it is important that you members of the public pay attention to what is said. Because we come here every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays and bring a certain type of message for you all. Now, when we would have done a survey on this channel concerning the many people who does listen on and watch and share what we would have placed outside there within the public domain, we understand we judge some of the comments and we look through the comments on a daily basis. This is a live show, by the way. This is 11:06. And the problem is this. We understand that we need to state the problem clearly so you understand. We was waiting for months as to see if you could summon up the whole message in which we does be broadcasting here on a daily basis. The problem with the entire PNM administration, we would have observed this from the data in which we would have collected from since 1952 to now. I to tell you how deep we're going, and we will be revealing other things concerning that within the future. We are waiting for some of these dumb and dotish ministers to open them out. The PNM administration, when they would have won election for long consecutive amount of time, notwithstanding that fact, they would have developed in the PNM administration is what is known as the God complex. Let that soak in for 2 minutes. When you see how Rowley behaves in Parliament, when you see how Stuart Young is behaving now, when you see PNM activists that deep within the core of the PNM, watch how they behave as something or entity that could do no wrong, that is above reproach. Now, as being a member of the PNM, in which I still have my party card, if you will attend any of these meetings and them from on the grassroots level, even from day, you are not allowed to express yourself in a particular way. People of Trinidad and Tobago, we are in serious trouble. And this will only continue as long as we want it to. You see that man that dive up in Parliament, he don't want to hear you, he don't want to hear your comments. And if you are going to track back this whole allude with the PNM administration, you track back for yourself. Why you think Manning would have lost at that particular point in time? Because he get out of hand. Why you think the people would have went to go against Eric Williams? Why you think there is a need, there was a need, there is a need for opposition? And if you have one administration continually winning, and no matter what you do, you stand up outside the Parliament still, them don't want to hear you. And just to say, you see, we had to continue to play this thing here with Stuart Young.
What's wrong with you? Hey, boy, cool it in my car. Come.
All you go run girls now for all in the back room. You can't use the PTSD buses anymore though, but you go bring the girls for all you know. Including camera.
You're gonna use the bathroom?
Yeah, Shmin and Zami.
Hey, what wrong with you, boy? What wrong with you, boy?
Don't call my name.
What wrong with you? Hey, boy, cool it in my corner.
Now that there was a tape of what would have taken place within the parliament. Whether or not other people would have made statements in which I would have seen many of these talk show hoax on them on other various platforms, they are not attacking the issue head on. The God complex in which exists within the PNM administration, I, Renison Jeffrey, are calling on you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, to vote them out. Let us deal with that issue. Let us see that they could lose. Let us see that they could lose in certain areas. Probably somewhere along the line, within the future, they will recognize the error of their ways. As for now, at any point in time, anytime we vote back in these people, we are going to be in serious trouble. And many of you that are looking on the 40-something of you on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Rumble that are looking on. When we go live, this is just a program that we would have, not scheduled. So we ask you guys is to subscribe to the channel and press the bell notification. So every time we go live, you will know, you'll get that notification on your phone that you may be able to see what we are talking about. And some of you could review the shows in which we would have been broadcasting here live on this platform. So just to say in the few, just for you to understand what we are talking about, listen to this tape here, follow the storyline, read between the lines, and we will come back with an explanation coming up right back after this video. PNM have a God complex in which we must pay attention to and not allow them in the halls of power again.
Leader did three amazing things in her contribution. She identified my hard-working and distinguished colleague, the member for Port of Spain North St. Anne's West, as the Prime Minister's chosen one. But look at her chosen ones. Senator Arnold Roberts of live sport, rather dead sport fame. Senator David Naked, who is on record as telling this country that a former president, in plain words, is an unmitigated something.
Standing order 48-6, please. Is imputed improper motives to members of another house.
I overrule.
MP Barry Padarat, MP Munilal, who just jumped his legs. I said member of parliament.
No, but
okay, the member of parliament for Oropuch East. The member of parliament for Couva North speaks only in Spanish outside of this house. At all hours of the day and
Speaker,
night.
I stand on standing order 48-6. He's misleading the house as well. He should stop misleading. I should send him the privilege as a privilege. He should apologize for misleading the house.
overrule.
Thank you very much. The member for Pointe-à-Pierre, David Lee.
No.
Sorry, the member for Pointe-à-Pierre. And of course, the member for St. Augustine. Look at her. Look at the member for Separia's lifelong associates. The likes of SIS's Krishna Lala and a former Minister of National Security in her country while he was wanted internationally, a man called Jack Warner. A gallery, an album. Madam Speaker, they don't want the likes of the member for Tabakit. They don't want the likes of the member for Chaguanas West, the member for Mayaro, the member for Naparima, and of course my friend from Komuto Manzanilla. The UNC is split, not for the first time, along the lines of moral and spiritual righteousness and values. Not for the first time. The member for Oropuch East, Madam Speaker, told us in his usual spirit of conviviality that if they had a rat trap inside of the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, the Minister of Finance's hands would have been bandaged. Well, I could tell you, if they had a rat trap in the Treasury, some of them nose and mouth and face would have been brutalized by the rat traps. And went on to tell us shamelessly that for all these years no police ain't come by him. We don't know if it's as yet. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. But in any event, the member for Oropuch East is a defendant in a conspiracy matter before the courts. And when they tried to strike it out, the judge found that there was a case to answer. File your defense. And he has excuse to answer there. That's a fact. For conspiracy to defraud the taxpayers of this country millions of dollars. When as a minister in the last 3 months, in 2015, is recorded as distributing and paying those contractors some $450 million in 3 months. That is what is in front of the court now, Madam Speaker. The police ain't come yet against me. And if I was a police, I'd be there. Look.
Now, listen to the way in which Fitzgerald Hines would have brought this message. You know what the likes of member for Naparima and all these things. Is that a confirmation? You see, we had time to play back that tape. Is that a confirmation that these MPs are working with the PNM? Is that a confirmation? One, we would have made mention of the God complex, in which the PNM administration, you could detect it in all of their membership. You could detect it in everything that they say within the parliament. You could detect it on the fact that they are unapologetic to what is taking place. The very leader of the PNM administration, when things are taking place with our citizens in Trinidad and Tobago, remain silent. It is only left now for the opposition to take notice. And then, when the opposition take notice of what is taking place within our country, you are hearing people from on the other side, like that dirty statement that Maurice Julian would have said, don't make this thing political. Dunce. A political dunce. Like plenty of the members and them in the PNM administration, because anytime you go to them with anything, the God complex take over. And if you are to study the politics within Trinidad and Tobago from since 1952 till present, anytime you have a government that would have gotten out of control, check their behavior, look at the membership, look at their party groups, because plenty of the people within the Point Fortin area, within the library area, have been speaking out against these two members of parliament in these two areas, and the groups are not taking notice of that. People from in the Lavantil area would have been complaining about Fitzgerald Hines and his absenteeism, and nobody in taking notice. Is the God complex when PNM continually win and we are not holding them to a standard, is what having them behaving within this manner in Trinidad and Tobago. Nobody wants Kennedy Richards Jr. in Point 14. In fact, many of the members of the community would have said his father turning in the grave because he stands for nothing. The statements of the people in Point 14, and we would have visited or would have made an attempt to visit that gentleman to inform him of things that is taking place within the community and up till this day. And one night, a villager could have seen him and the next day they get a meeting or when it suit them. And we would have been walking in that office continually to inform him of what is taking place within his district. You pop a post on Facebook, oh, leadership is about informing the authorities and so forth, and we would have been continually doing that. The member of Parliament for Library, he absent, people begging to see him. He absent. And listen to this. Listen to this. There are people that are not in touch with the reality of their constituency all over Trinidad and Tobago. And the problem is this: we are keeping them there. We are putting them there. And the thing about it is this. I told you that we will go into the God complex. But look at this video. I hope you remember this. Remember this video here. Why is that search for the information?
So we'll try to get people on site to assist with all of that. We have to do the paperwork because it's public money. So we will get that
and look, this come and happen. So what is the government? What is the government contract? So they're going to compensate them for 2018 on that, or they're going to compensate them for that, or they're compensating.
So this particular event, I will get personally involved in to look at the coordination to make sure that works by our speed and make sure we have the right means to take. I can't speak to 2018 because I don't know about it. I wasn't there personally in that position. Here, just this one here, I will do the coordinations on this side.
So our line will go down here, and then I go, or like all go down in Mohan.
We send him in Navi Street to Mohan and Navi Street now. That's why we
I am from Navi Street, and I lost everything in Federal. I lost everything. I lost everything. Everything is Federal. Everything is Federal.
Seeing that they have some more relief coming on the side, they're getting some boats down there.
That's a businessman down the road there, loading up sand. The partners coming to help him and the kind sand, but some the people.
Let's go and make sure that we get some relief here. Alright, we'll be back a little bit later.
Now, citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, or remember that now we could play the next part of that tape, but for the sake of time, we are going into what is called the God complex that these ministers and them have here within our country. Members of the PNM, a matter of fact. Trying to see if I could pull this up on a different screen.
So we'll try to get people on site to assist with all of that. We have to do the paperwork because it's public money. So we will get that information.
And look, this come and happen. So what is the government? What is the government contract? So they're going to compensate them.
Right, so
Or they're going to compensate them for that, or they're compensating.
that is when Paris decided was to go in and think to run him like a dog from that area. Right to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The God complex refers to an attitude or behavior where a person believes that he have almost divine level of superiority, control, and infallibility. pay attention to your government in Trinidad and Tobago. When I say your government, we paying them. Pay attention to these individuals. The God complex refers to an attitude, behavior where a person believes he have almost divine level of superiority, control, or infallibility. Individuals with a God complex tend to see themselves as perfect, incapable of making mistakes, and often exhibit an inflated sense of self-worth. This belief can lead them to disregard others' opinion, dismiss advice, and take unnecessary risks because they believe they are always right. What are we seeing specifically within the PNM administration? So, as I would have told you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, pay attention to your... We would have been broadcasting this, and many of you, from the comments and the data in which we would have analyzed, have missed the point. And that is the reason why we are aiming at the governmental system in Trinidad and Tobago, and why certain things are not being done, and why they are using members of the media to stifle or to out certain fires instead of answering the question, the relevant issues in Trinidad and Tobago. Individuals with a God complex tend to see themselves as perfect, incapable of making mistakes, and often exhibit an inflated sense of self-worth. This belief lead them to disregard others' opinion, dismiss advice, and take unnecessary risks because they believe they are always right. The PNM administration at work. This is often used to describe certain professionals, such as doctors, leaders, or influential figures, who may develop this mentality due to the power of authority they hold. In extreme cases, people with God complex can become manipulative or authoritarian, feeling justified in their action regardless of the consequence. Now I ain't gonna stay on here any longer. I want you guys to understand what you are up against in Trinidad and Tobago, and why things like this will be unnoticed by the media that is controlled by the government, and to the medias and them that tacitly agree with the government. They say nothing about what is taking place within Trinidad and Tobago that will go against the opinion of the government. I am disappointed in mainstream media for not highlighting this situation in the way it should be highlighted. I'm appalled to the behavior of the media. And just to say, concerning the misdirections of certain things within our country, now you are hearing that the administration is talking about we are spending money on this. How you could believe the plights of the opposition when look in the budget, watch how much money we spend here, watch how much money we allocate here, watch how much money we allocate there. But ask yourself this question, the people of Trinidad and Tobago: is this thing beneficial to us? Yes, the proposed $80 million spending on a stadium. But after the stadium is built, is it beneficial to us? Are we going forward as an economy? What benefit is that is to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, or the village, that such investment is pumped in? And I can tell you about this area that I am living. The power plant in Trinidad, in the Labra Industrial Estate, is of no benefit to the people within the area. It may be benefiting Trinidad and Tobago at large, because there is where we get our electricity. But what is true of the whole is not true of the part at all. It's a fallacy. Yes, it's a good initiative, but there are people within government have find certain ways for it to benefit them, and still at the expense of the wider public. And we are seeing this continually taking place within government. Remember what I tell you, you know? Remember what I say. Subscribe to the channel. Be a part of this fastest growing network. Press the bell icon so I gonna know when we're going live with certain things. We go live other times other than Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. We go live other than that. These programs and them are unscheduled, but we believe just for you to get a notion of what we are coming up with Thursday coming, to explain again the people's business here in Trinidad and Tobago, we demand an apology from Stuart Young, the Minister of Energy and Energy Industry, and also a minister within the Prime Minister's ministry. We demand an apology. The God complex, we will deal with that coming up in the future. So we are going to close off with a tape here. We are going to close off with a tape here, in which we would have went to the Mahaika Ovals. And as I say, they're making investment in a lot of things that is not beneficial to us on no accounts when they done bill. And this is our next white elephant. Contact us on the numbers that you see. WhatsApp your videos to us. And many of you might have a complaint. Call us on that number 333-2176 or WhatsApp us. Let us, a matter of fact, come and highlight your issue. Be a part of this program. We will invite you, the members of the public, to hell with these politicians and them on both sides, a matter of fact. If they are not highlighting your problem, we will. Your business is important. We do what we do in the name of the people. Look at what is taking place. A stadium that is built in Point Fortin that is of no use to the people that is around the area. Again, my name is Renison Jeffrey, and this is the Workers' Rights Platform. We are broadcasting live from the Workers' Rights Network, and we are out.
So you have Point Fortin once being home to one of the country's refinery. It was closed down. It was home to the southern district of the Petrotrin. It was closed down. So you have a huge proportion of the population of Point Fortin that was employed at Petrotrin and employed at Petrotrin offshore facilities, which is Trinma. All those workers were sent home, casual and temporary. A lot of those workers now are working CPEP, so they're getting $2 more. So they used to earn a salary of $20,000 and $30,000. Now they earn a salary of $2,000 and $3,000. And it goes back to a point I made this morning on a radio program. I said the reason for school violence right now is because of the economic hardship that the citizens as a whole in Trinidad are going through. The famous short finance minister laughed when he raised gas prices 3 times. So people are under pressure. the PNM ministers laughing, violence and crime on the rise. And yet they're taking the scarce resources that we have and spending it stupidly. Because you have a community where the majority of the people in the community unemployed or working CPEP or underemployed, but you're not taking the money and putting it into training, you know. No, you're taking the money and building sporting facilities. Just recently, the MP for this area, Kennedy Richards, was very joyous, very happy, very proud that he's going to open my next football field on the outskirts of Point 14 when he leading. So again, you build one for $40 million with upkeep of security and what may have you. It's not serving anybody. You see anybody working there right now? You see anybody going to class? Is it doing anything to raise the standard of living for anybody in Point Fortin? No, it's not. So it's $40 million wasted. You come 5 years after, not learning your lessons. Apparently these fellas used to do very terrible in school and they never used to get enough licks. So you come 5 years after to build our next football field. Oh. Great is the PNM, man. And then they close down the NESC facility. So you're closing down the school. You have a tertiary facility right next to here, stone throw distance away, which was involved in teaching young people who may at the age of Form 3 or further, who may have decided that the traditional course of studies wasn't for them. So they could have gone and done things like building technology or some kind of trade, because not everybody could be an accountant. Not everybody could be a lawyer. Some people are very skilled otherwise. And that's what we're saying. We want better management of our money. Yesterday I saw Stuart Young boasting that he was on a ship in Shell, and they were boasting that they're going around Trinidad doing seismic studies. So after 100 years of us in the oil business, Stuart Young is now boasting about he being on somebody else's ship. Why that couldn't be a Trinidadian ship doing that seismic survey? Yet, but all our Coast Guard vessels tie up in Chagaramas. So all we Coast Guard vessels that's supposed to be guarding the country tie up in Chagaramas. But he on somebody else's ship, and he's very proud about that. This is the kind of fools we have in government. Right? And I don't know when my fellow brothers and sisters will wake up to these jokers, these nincompoops that come with these lies. The government is not closing down Petrotren. And then he comes back and there's a fake oil scandal. But as far as I understand, Petrotren has been a company of sabotage years in now. It's years in now. The government, through its very minions, you know those little yellow things that you see in those cartoons? PNM have plenty of them in all the government service, mashing up the country. All about they have them little minion in them. Stuart Young, they have a host of Stuart Young and Faris Al-Rari and Rowan Sin and all about the place, mashing up the place. All about the place. They have a host of minion. I said, in Rowley terms, he went Lekito and get them. A host of that little buck, mashing up the country all over the place. And then they want to come and tell you that we is the best thing since sliced bread. And don't let them Indian and them come and mash up the place, you know. Don't let them Indian come and bad spend your money, you know what? You see what them Indian and them could do? Well, show me what you do. PNM has been the longest standing administration in this country. What have we seen under your administration? Show we now. Show we value for money. Show we how you improving we. Show we how you better in we. Show me how you taking the resources that we have. Show me how you're taking the things, the infrastructure that we had and making it better. No. The only thing you know how to do, or the only thing that you have been accused of, is stealing the money and bad spending it. And all kind of, you sign a contract with Venezuela, non-disclosure. So nobody knows what the agreement was about. And this is the kind of governance you're getting. Now, you was in office for 9 years, and an economic cycle consists of 7 years. So you're 7 and 2, and then you come in to tell me, give me 2 more years, let me show you how I can improve the country. Brother man, stick to geology now. Or just give me a chance, please. Just give us we fed up here. Give me a chance, please. Thank you.
There we go. Hi, good day everyone. I'm Candace Edwards and I'm here with Khan, Mr. Khan.
Yes, Khan.
We are the Advocate for Justice. And look on our YouTube channel on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturday. Well, Saturday is the Bacchanal time where you can call in.
Bacchanal Saturday.
Bacchanal Saturday we call in that. Where you can call in and bad okay man, bad okay woman. Let's sit and have a chat. Right? Mr. Khan?
7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Make sure and call. Bacchanal Saturday. But we'll be on a Tuesday and Thursdays as well for all those hardcore issues that are affecting you. Water, mosquitoes, parliamentarians, we'll be there. Call in and talk, we'll be coming to you to do interviews, showing the videos, and then we'll be airing them.
Yes, for everyone to see, so you too can have a voice. Whatever situation you would have been facing in the past and even in the present time now, you can come out, you feel free to call. We are your voice. Let us stand in the gap for you and bring these situation out into the light.
This video was born because a lot of people commenting, so we're trying to give the people
a voice.
So make sure and tune in. Tuesdays, Thursdays and
Saturday, Bacchanal Saturday.
I like it.